Rolly Image, Hickman, the A Queen, 69. 69, dudes. All right, so typical. I'll talk about some things, and then if you guys have any questions, I will answer them. Okay, let's see if we get some. See if we can adjust this a little bit back here. Do. Right, I think that's better. Okay. What's up, Alex? All right, we'll see if people roll in. Certified? Certified for what? Certified for being a real one? Or you get certified under Clark? Is that what you're talking about? Got my bone broth. Oh yeah, nice. Funny story about that. I still get emails. People ask me if I'm certified under Clark. It's funny. Okay, let's go to the chat on the YouTubes. It's probably, let's see, let's make an X post. I wonder how I can share this. Copy link. Although realistically, I don't know how many people follow me on Twitter. Worried about milk thistle. Says it's contraindicated with endometriosis. Well, I better Google endometriosis. Let's see, endometriosis is a disease in which cells like those. Yeah, I don't know anything specific that would, in milk thistle, that would contribute to endometriosis. I mean, doesn't GB3 have milk thistle as well? I mean, it could cause fluctuations in estrogen, but I mean, the milk thistle, it's not like a high dose milk thistle. One of the things you have to understand is like the dosing too. So sometimes like people don't look at the dosing in these studies. So the study that she might have read where milk thistle affects estrogen levels might have been like they were mega dosing milk thistle. I highly doubt that there was as much milk thistle in the bile flow as they were giving them in the study. Also, they're probably giving milk thistle by like itself. Fun fact, I released parasites 2 days in a row from Nerve Calm. First time I ever seen them in my stool. Are you sure it was Nerve Calm is more likely the Bioflow? Is that a typo? Milk thistle is estrogenic, says Radar Ashwood on the YouTube. Yeah, but in what dosage? In what dosage? I mean, how estrogenic is it really going to be in the context of a nutritional balancing program? I mean, you could always try to find something without milk thistle in it. There are things similar to Bioflow. I mean, I prefer Bioflow at this time, but you can find digestive enzymes that don't have milk thistle if you're really that worried about it. Yeah, exactly. A full mineral balancing program will balance the hormones better than anything. So even if there is somewhat of a hormonal effect from the milk thistle, it'll be more than balanced out by balancing your sodium potassium ratio, balancing your oxidation rate, getting your nutrient levels up, etc., etc. Man, I'm about to unplug this. It's getting hot. It's too hot for the red light in here. Whew, lordy. My NAK flipped, knowing now in hindsight, and I got on nerve after 2 weeks of plain nothing then boom, parasites on stool and lots of gas. I suppose it's possible the nerve calm made you start to eliminate parasites, but I find that unlikely. It could be because you started your new regimen for your NAK, but I guess it's possible. Radar Ashwood, I'm not sure what you're referring to with your previous comment. All I see from you is milk thistle is estrogenic. I don't know if you commented something else or that's all I see from you. My chromium increased each test. How important is that? It's not as important as like other things, such as like balancing your NAK ratio and things like that, but it's a good sign that your chromium's coming to a better level. Chromium is really correlated with like blood sugar imbalance, so hopefully, as your chromium comes up, you have better blood sugar balance, and you can handle carbohydrates better. That'd be the hope. Zalman, why is getting out of 4 lows such a slow process? I'm 9 months in and still in it, bouncing from fast to 4 lows. It depends. Did you start off in 4 lows? I mean, people go into 4 lows for years. I've been in 4 lows for years. It's important not to judge the pattern too much. So, like, people can get attached to... People get attached to patterns. Yeah. So I can tell you that if you're going from 4 lows into fast oxidation, then it is more likely that you're going to go back into 4 lows. Typically, if people are going to permanently get out of 4 lows, they're going to go exit 4 lows into slow oxidation. So going from 4 lows to fast oxidation and back and forth is actually a pretty common pattern. Usually coinciding with a low NAK ratio as well. For whatever reason, I don't know. It's the angry pepperoni. Why is the pepperoni angry? It should be a happy pepperoni. You'll tell me why you're an angry pepperoni? And I got too hot with that red light, fam. My NAK up is 2.96, best it's ever been, but the metals didn't dump a lot more than usual. I mean, that's good that your NAK is the best it's ever been, so that's a really good sign. So my suggestion is don't be too attached to the patterns, right? As long as you feel better and you feel like you're moving forward with your health, that's the most important thing. So sometimes people can be too attached, like, oh, I've been in 4 lows this long. Well, sometimes you got to, it just takes the body a while to get out of 4 lows. And if you've been in and out of 4 lows for 9 months, that's not that long. People can go into 4 lows for a long time. Yeah, more fatigued, but more like yourself. Yeah, most people actually like a 4 lows program. Most people actually feel pretty good in a 4 lows program for whatever reason. They just feel calmer, or I don't know what it is, if they feel like they're deep healing. Like, for instance, most people feel better in a 4 lows program than when they're in fast oxidation, especially fast oxidation with like a low NAK ratio. I would say that. Why do you keep walking out of the room? I gotta check on the bodies. What supplements help? You know what raises glutathione more than anything, actually, is coffee enemas. Metallothionein? I'm not familiar with that one. Let's do a little Google. Let's learn about metallothionein. Let's see. Cysteine-rich proteins. So it's basically like your body, one of your body's natural kind of like chelators. Well, chat, I don't know how to specifically raise metallothionein, but I imagine a program would help. At the end of the day, you have to realize that there's so many different components and like moving parts in your body. It's hard to focus on just one, or to even, it's impossible to even know how they all interact with each other. My issue for 10 months has been the insomnia. So if insomnia is an issue, you can try extra CalMag Fusion at night. You can try a little extra fat at night as well. So I would try that. Just make sure Your lights are under control, so make sure that you're not getting a lot of light because lights will trick your body and your eyes into thinking it's daylight out still. So just make sure that you're dimming the lights. You can use candles or whatever. Make sure that you're using red shifts on all your screens so you're not getting a lot of blue light. Eating extra fat at night. You can take up to like 3 CalMag fusion at night. I think that's fine. If you have a high NAK ratio, you can also take extra zinc at night. Maybe take 2 zinc. I probably wouldn't go over 2, especially if you're using the valence zinc. This valence zinc is so powerful. I tend not to like more than people not taking more than 2 at a time, except maybe in an extreme case. Also, the pulling down exercise. Using the sauna at night can also be helpful. How long should a coffee enema be held? Anywhere from like 15 to 30 minutes. I think around 20 minutes is a good to shoot for. But you can I go up to 30 a lot of times. But 15 minutes is like the minimum. Anywhere from like 15 to 30 minutes, I would say. Do you recommend digestive enzymes in addition to BioFlow Plus? I do not. Not that there's other good ones out there. And there are definitely like ones if you guys want to take, like you can take them or you can take them along with BioFlow Plus, but it's just that it's probably not worth the money to add an extra. It's like the juice isn't worth the squeeze to add another digestive enzyme in most cases. Yes, like almond butter. That's a good fat. I started not wearing my sunglasses. Yeah, it's actually not a good idea to wear sunglasses most of the time. Your body's actually, your eyes are meant to receive sunlight. Get that stimulus actually. Regarding sauna at night from Philip, how can you rehydrate without drinking too much? So you have to go pee during sleep. That's a tough one. I mean, in my opinion, for me personally, going to the bathroom at night's not a big deal because I just wake up, I go pee, or as you say, I imagine you're English. I go to the loo, and then I just go back to sleep. I'm only up for like a couple minutes, but it depends. If you have trouble falling back to sleep after you use the loo, then that could be an issue. But for me personally, and for a lot of people, it's not a big issue because you can just go right back to sleep. It's not a big deal to get up and go pee. And then you can also you don't have to do it right before bed. So if you use the sauna at like 6 p.m. and then you drink a bunch of water, you've got 2 or 3 hours to pee. So you can use the sauna in the evening, but not right before bed. That also helps. Also, you can drink like a little bit of coconut water. That can hydrate you without drinking as much of liquid. You look good in the aviator shades, though. Yeah, that's a problem, man. Looking boss. Captain Coins asked, why can't I tolerate CalMag Fusion even when I take one? Well, there's definitely no way for me to answer that question. There could be a million reasons why you can't tolerate CalMag Fusion. But my suggestion would be you find how much you can tolerate. So the valence capsules are pretty easy to pop apart. Just pop it apart, dump half out, see if you can handle a half. If you can't handle a half, see if you can handle a quarter. My advice would be try to find the threshold of how much CalMag Fusion that you can handle. I love my sauna box. It's a steam sauna. So am I going to get way better results with red light sauna? I try to do spot red light therapy. Are you going to get way better results? No, probably not. Because you have to realize that you are doing the sauna in conjunction with the program. So in the big scheme of things, like if you're still doing the diet and you're taking your supplements like twice a day and you're following the diet pretty closely and you're doing coffee enemas, um, then there's not going to be a huge difference with the red light, I don't think. Yeah, and you can do sort of red light therapy while you do your steam sauna too. I probably wouldn't expose the lights to water, but you could like shine them on the outside. If potassium goes up, in which case NAK flips, does this toxic potassium mean a true NAK flip that requires limb come in? Yes. Yeah. Even if you're getting a big potassium dump, we still use that to gauge your NAK up. So, I mean your NAK ratio. So yeah, you're gonna be taking limb come in or NAK up. Yeah. Yeah, if you're doing spot red light therapy and you're using this in the sauna box, that's pretty good. Do you recommend directly supplementing glutathione? I don't in most cases, just because I'm already having people take so many supplements. Glutathione isn't typically one that I would add on top of it. But you can take glutathione. It's not a big deal. If you feel like you need it. Luke, are you still dumping metals? Yeah. I actually dumped metals on my last two tests. I was dumping quite a bit of aluminum. Can you take us through your most recent test? Yeah, actually I could. I'm actually in 4 lows, but I'm not worried about it. I've been in 4 lows for a few years. But again, it's not something that you want to get attached to, you guys. I mean, I'm in 4 lows and I feel good most of the time. So let's see here. This will only be on the YouTube, unfortunately. So we can see, yeah, I'm in 4 lows. Can I maximize this? I don't want to actually download it. But yeah, we can see that I'm in 4 lows here. So my NAK flipped. Although I've been taking zinc for like a couple weeks and I just don't feel, I feel like my NAK has already gone back down. And I took NAK up this morning and I felt really good. So yeah, but we can see that I was eliminating quite a bit of aluminum. And then I was also eliminating manganese. So my manganese last test was up here. And the test before that, I think it was even higher, like 8 or 9. So I was eliminating quite a bit of manganese and aluminum. So it was basically an amigo dump. But you can see I'm still in 4 lows. Sympathetic dominance. I'm trying to do less stimulants. I think partially why I'm still in 4 lows and I have sympathetic dominance is because I overdo stimulants. I just drink too much caffeine. But I'm getting better at it. I also tend to worry too much and work too hard. It's kind of a psychological thing. It's done me well. Like, I've done well in my life. But I tend to over worry. Let's see. Let's go back to the chat. You're in 4 lows, so you're burnt out. Yeah, technically you would say that's a burnout, yes. But you could also say that any variation of slow oxidation is burnout. Can slow oxidizer eat something from goat like cheese or yogurt? Yeah. Now, it's not those foods like raw dairy, especially dairy in general, is not as important for a slow oxidizer, so you need to limit that. You know, that in general, dairy is a better food for fast oxidizers. I started drinking 1 to 2 cups of kefir. Yeah, kefir's good. told you, Enzo. I gotta go check on the bodies. What are the main reasons you see very low iron on a test? Mostly just because the body doesn't have enough energy to eliminate it at that time. So if you have very low iron, chances are that you have probably a copper imbalance, and also you probably have toxic iron that's building up in the body. Basically, everyone eventually on a program will eliminate oxide forms of the iron. Well, Zalman, you have to realize that taking CalMag Fusion by itself does not increase calcium magnesium. That's not how it works. So just they're not very correlated. If your calcium is low, you can take a bunch of calcium. It won't necessarily raise your calcium level. That's why this is not replacement therapy. Where is it going? Your body's probably absorbing it. Just like the last question, Zalman, most people have low iron just because it's part of being in burnout. Just because most people are in slow oxidation. What's up, Pablo? If any of you guys want to ask a question, if any of you want to go live on the Instagram, just you can take MSM if you notice a benefit. I don't think it's something that's going to shift your chemistry a lot, but I don't personally use that much on a program just because it's just another supplement for people to take, and people are already taking so many supplements. It's not. That's just true for a lot of these supplements, you guys, that you're asking me about. A lot of these supplements, yeah, they can be good and they probably have their place, but like as a practitioner, I don't usually have people take anything extra. Unless it's like the most common supplements that I would add to a program would be like citrus pectin for really bad detox. It would be selenium. Anyone can supplement extra selenium. I think that's fine. Maybe like a vegetable capsule, like endo veggies, that can also be added. But for the most part, I just don't add supplements in general because people are already taking so many supplements. It's just at the end of the day, I can't have, people can't be expected to be taking a dozen supplements. But I don't think, taking MSM is a bad idea. And I don't think it's something that would probably shift the chemistry that much. So it's not like as dangerous as taking certain like the wrong B vitamins, for instance. Have you seen a perfect or close to a perfect test? Yeah, but one thing you have to realize is that some tests can seem really good, and then they go into 4 lows or something. Clark's last test was fire. I'm not sure what you mean. You're saying he got a good last test? Clark has his struggles too, like everyone else. Something to remember. Am I staying safe with the fires out there? I'm staying safe with the fires, yeah. one thing you have to realize is that California is a very big place. So I actually live it's an 8-hour drive to LA from where I live. So I don't live anywhere close to the fires. I live in the northern part of California where it's like wooded. So I'm surrounded by lakes and rivers and big, big trees. Like there's lots of big pines and big cedars and firs where I live. Like so there's like a lot of like logging industry. And it's been raining before this week, like last month, it rained like 2 or 3 weeks in a row where I live. So I don't live anywhere near LA. I would never live in LA. Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah. You're in the East Bay. Is the East Bay Oakland? Were the fires bound to happen? Yes, the fires were bound to happen due to mismanagement of resources. So California's government refuses to do things like controlled burns. They refuse to remove the underbrush. And they refuse to fill up the reservoirs. So you're in the suburbs of Oakland. But yeah, the fires are bound to happen because of mismanagement of just resources. They don't remove the dead trees like they used to and clear the underbrush. So yeah, it was bound to happen, and it'll keep happening. One thing you have to realize is that the forests, especially, it has to burn at some point. So if you don't clear the underbrush out and you don't do controlled burns, and you just put out every fire, eventually the fuel just builds and builds and builds until there's a fire that you can't control. That's one thing you have to realize is that fires, forest will burn at some point, and if you just postpone the inevitable and you put out every fire and you don't thin the forest and you don't manage the forest, eventually the fuel will just build and build and build until eventually there's a worse fire than there would have been in the first place. Even some trees literally wait for fires and then they release their seeds. So that's one thing you have to realize is that forests are made to burn. But that's the fires that are happening in LA. That's not so much of an issue. It's not like it's forested. The issue is more of just resources. They weren't prepared. They don't have enough water available. Like the fire hydrants aren't working, and they don't have enough men, and they didn't clear enough of the brush. And yeah, we'll see. It might cause there's a lot of property being damaged. So California is bankrupt basically, and so this might hasten some sort of financial crisis. Is ChatGPT taking jobs away? The truth is always somewhere in between. Is ChatGPT directly taking jobs away? Not many at this time, wouldn't say. But yeah, LA will take away jobs. But the solution is not to outlaw AI. So you have to think of, so with AI, for example, they want to regulate it, right? And then the excuse to regulate things is always, we're looking out for you. But in reality, when you get the government involved, they just end up favoring certain corporations and favoring themselves, and then there's monopolies on the AI. Okay, So the solution isn't to outlaw AI. The solution is to let everyone use AI and to open source it and to actually break up monopolies and let the free market flourish with AI as much as possible. Okay. Outlawing AI is like saying we should outlaw tractors because without tractors, there'd be a lot more people that could dig trenches. There'd be more jobs for digging trenches. That's not the answer. Yeah, I use Grok a lot too. It's better than Google for sure. I recommend people take B6 with a low NAK ratio. Specifically. That's when P5P is the most important. That's why it's part of limb coming and part of NAK up as well. But yeah, it will take away jobs. It will continue to take away jobs. But that's just like any technology. And the answer isn't outlawing technology or trying to regulate it too much. And these regulations, they end up favoring the giant corporations anyway because they're the only ones that can afford the lawyers to deal with the regulations. So it's a nasty byproduct of that. You can look at any number of industries where they regulate it too much, and then what happens is that there's just monopolies. How can most people live healthy without mineral balancing? I would be super sick without it. Well, it depends. Most people are quite sick, even if they hide it with stimulants and things like that. Some people can also just handle things better. There's a genetic component. Some people have stronger genetics. It is what it is. Some people can just handle the talk. They're just born healthier. Maybe their mothers were healthier. And they can handle modern stresses better. In your opinion, are poor eliminators a result of a toxic liver? Yeah, partially, for sure. I mean, a toxic liver is always going to contribute to something like that, for sure. But it's all, it's all part of the big picture. Larry Lalonda from Primus lost his house. Is that the drummer? Yeah, lots of celebrity. That's why this will probably bring about political change in California, is because a lot of the people affected are rich people. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm not a huge fan of the guitarist from Primus. I don't really like his style. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like Primus though. They got some decent songs. They're a little weird. Yeah, exactly. Mel Gibson. Lots of celebrities are losing their house. What are your thoughts about hydrogen water? It's probably not worth it. For most people, just drinking spring water is gonna be the best. You know. Typically with something like hydrogen water, first of all, what is the source of the water that they're adding hydrogen to? Is it a high quality water in the first place? If it's not, that's an issue. But for the most part, you guys just stay away from the designer. You don't need the designer waters, and they're all overrated, and they're all basically they just overhype themselves. If you want to spend extra money on water, just get a higher quality spring water. Either find a spring or just have it shipped to your house or just buy it from the grocery store. Just, if you want to spend extra money on water, just go buy Fiji water. That would be my recommendation. Just go buy a nice spring water if you want to, go down that route. I'm not sure why your body would need hydrogen anyway. It needs oxygen more than hydrogen. It seems like I would see more of a merit in oxygenated water than hydrogen water. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, though. Is pasteurized whole cow milk yogurt bad? No, it's not bad, especially if you can handle it. Of course, it's better that you get raw. Of course, it's better if you get raw, but if you can handle it, yogurt is one of the better ones to pasteurize because it's easier to digest because it has it's fermented partially. I have a 5-gallon jug of Alhambra water. Do I really need to stress about trying to find Fiji water? No, not really. Oh, it's Gary Brecka. Is Gary Brecka the guy that helped the UFC guy? Isn't Brecka the guy? Actually, I like Brecka for the most part. Isn't he the guy that helped Dana White get his health in order? And he's into methylated B vitamins. And just genetic testing. But yeah, you have to realize that there's an incentive for people to show this stuff. Yeah. So I imagine what is the hydrogen water? Do you just buy it, or do you have to buy the machine to hydrogenate it? But do I really need to stress about trying to find? No, you don't need to stress about it. I don't know about Alhambra myself. There's a lot. I would try to find a spring water that you resonate with. Certain people feel better on certain spring waters. Yeah, it's some machine he wants you to buy. So depending on where you live, you can always go try to find a spring yourself too. Go to findaspring.com. I mean, if you're in the suburbs in Oakland, then you probably would have to drive somewhere an hour. But there might be some springs on the outskirts that you could find. Sometimes you can get it cheaper too if you have there's companies that will ship spring water to your house. And Fiji's not the only brand that's good. There's lots of good brands. It's just that Fiji's the most common one that you find in the grocery store. I don't remember the last time I've had Alhambra. You have to realize too, sometimes they market it as spring water and it's not. My favorite cheapo spring water is probably Crystal Geyser. The Crystal Geyser seems to be pretty good, and even though it's a cheap, it's not as good as Fiji or something like that. I do not like Arrowhead for some reason. Yes, my children do mineral balancing. Oh, metachlorians, very high. Yeah, doesn't Arrowhead taste weird? For some reason, I do not like Arrowhead. There's something off. I don't know why. I feel like there's something off about Arrowhead. I would definitely recommend Crystal Geyser over Arrowhead. Yeah, we've had good success with ulcerative colitis. Yeah, colitis could definitely be helped. Just eating more fiber. The diet really just changing the diet, eliminating wheat, eating lots of cooked vegetables, that really helps colitis. I just buy spring water at the grocery store. I don't know if I've ever worked with anyone personally that has MS, but I'm sure it'd be helped. Do you feel they will be future Jedi? Yes, they will be future Jedi for sure. Have you seen the orbs? Are you talking about like the orbs that they like filmed? Where was that they found the orbs? Yes, mineral balancing does help remineralize the teeth for sure. New Jersey orbs, yeah. I mean, people see orbs everywhere. What are the orbs? I don't know. There's probably good orbs and bad orbs. Yes, the hydroxy patite, I don't know how you say it, is better. So what that is like it's basically it's something like they've been using it in Japan for a long time, and it's found to be superior to fluoride. But yeah, it helps with like it helps rebuild the enamel of your teeth. It's similar to fluoride, but it's healthier and it's better. Have you ever worked with someone who has to take TRT? I don't know of anyone that has to take HGH. Doctors don't typically put people on HGH long term. That's very dangerous. So when you consume HGH, you have to realize that, like long term, it'll fuck up your body bad. So HGH makes everything bigger. So it'll fuck up the size of like the ratio of like your heart and stuff. That's why like so many bodybuilders end up having like heart problems. Who's here? What are you barking at? But I worked with people that take TRT. TRT is not as TRT is more acceptable in my opinion than HGH. The only time I've seen people take HGH is if like they take it short term for like to try to heal an injury or something like that. But HGH long term is very dangerous. I would never recommend HGH. I don't typically recommend TRT either. If you're gonna take TRT, it is best to do the lower dosaging. Not the lower dosaging, but like there's certain forms of TRT that you can take that are like they have a shorter half life. Because what happens typically if you take TRT, your body will like forget how to process TRT. I mean, it'll forget how to make testosterone basically. But you can kind of trick the body if you just do short bursts of testosterone. Like if you take testosterone with a half-life of only a few hours, it's safer that way. Yeah, my testosterone definitely increased from mineral balancing. There's more effective ways to increase your testosterone, you guys. Besides mineral balancing in general, like for men, I would say number one, eat lots of red meat, raw garlic in general. Raw garlic powder, like organic garlic powder, really raises my testosterone. So I'd say red meat and garlic, those two foods, and then also just not losing fluid. So no masturbating. People make fun of no fat, but I can guarantee that if you stop masturbating, you will increase your testosterone. 100%. So yeah, I would say those, besides mineral balancing in general, I would say those are the top three ways. Eating more lightly cooked red meat, garlic, especially garlic powder, and then just not losing a lot of fluid. So especially if you're single, just no masturbating. Does Joe Rogan do HGH? I thought he only did TRT. I don't think Brazilian nuts really increase your testosterone that much. Not as much as those three things that I mentioned. Red meat will increase your testosterone a lot more than Brazil nuts. And garlic. Yep, steak with salt and garlic powder. For sure. And then cook the meat rare or medium rare. Rare is actually best. And garlic. Red meat, no wanking in garlic. And I think that's a healthier way to age. Like I'm not really sure that it's the best thing for older men to be taking TRT. Um, Men are meant to age a certain way, and honestly, one thing I've noticed with like TRT and older men is I think it can affect your wisdom. Like your body and your essence is meant to feel to a certain extent the effects of aging, and men are kind of meant to go into a little bit less of an energetic, high testosterone state, and then they become more wise in certain ways. Um, and so that's one thing I have noticed with like men that take TRT like later, like it can affect, I think, sometimes like wisdom. And I do think TRT would have a detrimental effect to your lifespan. There's a cost to everything. I don't know. That's a good question. If he had testicular, so he only's got one testicle. I actually don't know if you can produce enough testosterone. I'm not a doctor in that way. I'm not a doctor that specializes in that. So I don't know if it's possible for if he only has one testicle, maybe he might need TRT actually, because I don't know if your body can produce enough testosterone with one testicle. Um, he could try, although if he's been on TRT for a long time, he'll probably feel awful going off of it. I would say that if he does have to do TRT, he should look into doing the shorter lifespan TRT, so that his body still will like learn to produce it. Who are those guys that were talking about the short-term TRT? Oh, it was on Ty Lopez. So if you go to Ty Lopez's YouTube channel, within like the last month or so, he did an interview with these brothers, and they were talking about They were talking about TRT, where it's testosterone with a shorter lifespan, and so your body can regulate it easier. Do I think donating a kidney is a bad idea? Yes. I'm not sure why you're asking me that. Were you thinking about donating a kidney? I don't think we're far away from being able to grow kidneys with stem cells. If that's any consolation. How much can you get for a kidney? The price is right. Just kidding. Besides supplements, good diet, water, what other key things? You could do a little bit of red light therapy, so I think it is good if they have a little bit of red light on them. Like, you don't have to go hard with it, but if they're exposed to some red light would be good. You can also pop their toes and do foot reflexology on them. So I would say foot reflexology. You could do red light therapy. If you have severe anxiety, yeah, the most powerful thing for severe anxiety is the pulling down exercise. Again, we don't talk about it as much, but you guys, the pulling down exercise is one of the most powerful things on the program. I know people, practitioners included, that have been on the program for 10 years and they still have a lot of issues, like interpersonal relationship issues, and they just have a lot of issues that would be solved if they actually just did the pulling down exercise. Okay? The pulling down exercise does something the rest of the program will not do. Okay? You need the pulling down exercise. Red light anywhere specifically? No, not really. For kids? No, just anywhere on the body. Like the face, the liver, maybe. You also try Nerve Calm from Valence for severe anxiety. You know, people really like the Nerve Calm. But outside of like the supplements and stuff like that, I would say just do the pulling down exercise. Don't push it down, pull it down. It's more powerful and easier if you pull it down. Yeah, stimulants are very they're tricky. And they're definitely stimulant are a huge problem in our society for sure. Stimulants are very addicting. What does pulling down do for relationships? Well, if you do it together with a partner, it's very powerful. But you should understand that doing the pulling down exercise isn't necessarily good for relationships, because it'll bring truth and awareness to you. And if you become more aware of how your partner has been treating you, that might not necessarily be a good thing. And so the pulling down exercise might cause you to leave your partner. That's the truth. Okay. But in general, I would say it's good for relationships, especially if you do it together. But it'll make you realize the truth about your relationship, which isn't always easy. Okay, realizing the truth about things, including your relationships, aren't necessarily easy things, right? So just understand that. But in general, it's good, especially if you do it together. Oh yeah, there's videos. Just go search our YouTube channel. People always ask me questions about like if there's a video. Like, just search the YouTube channel. There's some. I'm sure most topics we've made a video on at some point. Who do you go for in the NFL? I'm in California, so I go for the 49ers. We had a down year this year. But yeah, there's videos how to do the exercise. One of the best ones is if you just search walkthrough pulling down exercise. Lewis has one where it's like he does a live walkthrough on the pulling down exercise. I am Christian, but not in the standard sense. So there's a lot of truth in Christianity, but Christianity is not the whole truth. Like one example, you're welcome, Enzo. Have a good rest of the day. So one example with Christianity would be, most Christians don't believe in reincarnation, but reincarnation is actually talked about in the Bible. Reincarnation is also talked about in ancient Jewish texts that precede the Bible. Not necessarily reincarnation as like straight like Hindus believe it, but your soul goes on, and people have multiple lives. There's people that remember their past lives that from Earth even, and so most Christians don't want to admit that, even though it talks about it in the Bible. Well, Judaism is tricky. So the first thing you have to realize about Judaism is that, first of all, Jesus was a Jew, and Jesus's intent was not to create Christianity. His intent was to reform Judaism, and in a way he did, but just that reformation of Judaism came about as Christianity. So I would say that Christianity is closer to the truth than modern Judaism. But the foundation of modern Christianity did come from Judaism, okay? And it was not Jesus' intent to create Christianity. His intent was to actually just reform Judaism into what it was more intended to be. Does that make sense? So, like, the foundations of that would be, like, one God. We're all part of one. It also would be certain, like, kosher laws. Was Clark my client? Yes, Clark was my client about 8 years ago. Maybe longer than 8. It might have been, like, 9 years ago. No, Clark was my client. Yeah, it is awesome. I'm very happy for him. I was joking with someone else in the chat how I actually get emails. People ask me if I'm certified under Clark, and it's funny. But Clark's a fantastic marketer. Are you a practitioner, Elemental Jenna? Maybe we can have you on the YouTube channel sometime. You can send me a PM if you want to come on the channel sometime. I think I've seen your Instagram videos. Yeah. Yeah, if you ever want to work something out too, I've been offering more like training with other practitioners or like helping them on the back end. Let's see here. Do I celebrate? I don't really celebrate the Sabbath, but I do believe that Saturday is the Sabbath. I mean, look at the word Sabbath. It's obviously Saturday. Is it that big of a deal? No, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Yes, my posture has definitely improved on mineral balancing. The pulling down exercise is actually very underrated for mineral balancing. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to wrap it up. It was nice chatting with everyone. This will the recorded version will be on the YouTube channel and Instagram. Thank you for all your questions as always. We'll do it again soon. Maybe I'll keep doing this every Saturday. All right, bye guys.